Hey, what's up, guys? What I want to talk to you about today is the stake of the election going on right now. We have one candidate that everyone demonizes and says that he loves Hitler and he's a fascist and all this other BS. Mind you, he is a former president, and things were a lot better under him than the current state now under Biden. And you have the vice president who has never won a primary, who polled very badly in 2019. She dropped out before the Iowa caucuses. She went on to become vice president, and in the last 3.5, almost 4 years, has done nothing. She created a bail fund for the BLM rioters there in Minnesota called the Freedom Fund. And she stood up for those rioters, said it was mostly peaceful protests going on back then, which we all saw it wasn't. There was buildings being burned. There was rioting and looting in the streets. So how could that be mostly peaceful protesting if there's buildings being burned in the background? And you had that one scene in Anchor who was standing in front of a burning building. Oh, it was mostly peaceful protests. Do we really want that for our country under a Kamala Harris presidency and a Tim Walz vice presidency? Because Tim Walz was the governor of Minnesota at the time of those riots. We need to ask ourselves, were we better off, 4 years ago, or are we better off now under the Biden Harris administration? And she's running for president, yes, but it's still the Biden Harris administration. And if you look at it, over 10 million illegal immigrants have come into the country under their watch. As soon as it came into office, everything that Trump had done, the Remain in Mexico policy, the border wall, Title 42, the partnerships with the Triangle countries, they shredded it day one. And we can all remember Biden saying back in near the 2020 election, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. And then now you have, I call her the installed puppet. That's what I call her. Because she didn't win the primary to get the nomination. You had the Democratic elites pressuring Biden to drop out. They were withholding donations. And then you had the coup by Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, the Obamas, George Clooney. You had all those people that finally forced Biden out of the way, and they installed Kamala Harris as the nominee. Even though she didn't get one vote in the primary, she was calling and begging the delegates to vote, to cast their ballot for her at the DNC convention. Are we going to be better off under a Kamala Harris, Tim Walz presidency, knowing that Kamala Harris is going to be bringing those failed Biden policies with her? And she's already stated on an interview on The View that if she's elected president, nothing will change under her presidency. The high inflation, which we do have high inflation, the living, the groceries, everything's been raised since she's become vice president. And under Biden, everything was raised. The cost of living, the cost of food, the cost of gas, the cost of heating. It's so difficult now under Biden where, there's a lot of people out there that's going to say, oh, well, I don't like Trump, I'm not going to vote for Trump. That's your prerogative to do. But you need to ask yourself, was I better off 4 years ago under the Trump administration, or am I better off now under the Biden administration where everything, all the prices are skyrocketing? The price of food, the price of gas, the price of living, everything is skyrocketing under Biden and Harris. And she wants to do this thing where she gives first-time home buyers $25,000 to buy their home. But she doesn't say if it's Americans that she's going to do this for or if it's illegal immigrants. She bombed the Fox interview with Bret Baier. She bombed it so bad that the Harris campaign team had to cut the interview. When Bret Baier was stating, I'm getting a hard rap, that wasn't coming from Fox. That was coming from her campaign team because she was bombing it because she couldn't ask, she couldn't answer the questions. Everything reverted back to Trump, 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 Trump. If she would have stuck with, why she was running for president, like she initially did in the first 60 days, everyone wouldn't be asking, exactly what she stands for, her policies and stuff like that. Over the last, I'd say, 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, everything's been Trump, 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 Trump. And she's told people, don't vote for me, vote to make sure Trump doesn't get in office again. She doesn't understand what's going on. And her vice president, Tim Walz, is such a radical leftist. It's not even funny. And she was asked by Bret Baier, because she said we need to turn the page. And Bret Baier stated, you've been vice president for the last 3.5 years. So how are you turning the page since you've been in office for the last 3.5 years? And she could not answer the question, and her exact comment was, well, Trump's been running for office for da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Stick to why you are running. Stick to why people should vote for you. Don't make this an all-out assault on Trump, because if you do, you're not going to win the election. There's liberals liberals for Trump now. That's a real thing. There's Swifties for Trump. If she doesn't stick to the issues on why she should be elected, and instead it's a character assassination on Trump, then people are not going to want to vote for her. they're going to end up voting for Trump. She needs to stick to what she was doing before. Because right now, her campaign, guys, is in a free fall. Because as soon as she started making everything about Trump, her momentum stopped. It's stuck in place. And, there's these polls, oh, Kamala's in the lead over Trump. And then you have another poll, Trump's in the lead over Kamala. I watched this CNN panel, and one of the anchors said that she had received some recent polling data, and it shows that Trump has pretty much locked in the presidential race. And by what she's seeing, Trump is going to win the election, and it's going to be a mild landslide in his favor. And the other pundits setting up there said if she would just start talking about why she should be president like she did in the first 60 days, she could win the election. But since she's just doing this character assassination on Trump and talking nothing but Trump, she is now stuck in the polls, no momentum, and she could very possibly lose this election. And this election will be a character analysis, a footnote in another failed presidential campaign when she didn't have to fail by sticking to the policies that originally got her the nomination. Again, this is the most crucial election in all elections. Do we want somebody that is a progressive puppet in Kamala Harris? Because she's already stated that if they win the House and if the Democrats win the House and the Senate, she's going to pass the new codified Roe v. Wade. Or do we want somebody who's already been president before and we had record low prices under him? Who's took a bullet for our country and almost took a second one for our country. And who's been demonized by these radical leftists because they don't like him. Because they can understand Make America Great Again. They use the MAGA word, Make America Great Again, as a cancerous saying. They call MAGA extreme. The extremist MAGA, or the MAGA House of Representatives, or Mike Johnson, who's the Speaker of the House, he's MAGA. And MAGA is not a dirty word. It stands for Make America Great Again. The Democrats don't like it, but the way I look at it now, the Democrat Party is turning into one giant Diddy party. They are. They're turning it into one giant Diddy party. And it's a shame, guys. Like always, like, subscribe, and comment on my channel. Hit that bell notification for any new uploads. Make sure you click all. This is the Patriot Podcast. I'm out. Peace.
Choppers, better cook those risks. Cold blood on my fists, we fire starters. One of them